Today we are discovering what secrets Survivor Gabon did not tell us in the edited television show. What is great is how the official DVD and Blu-ray releases of each season of Survivor contain some secrets that are game related, some that are personal thoughts, and some that are just plain silly. And we will even find out what exactly goes into the shooting of the opening sequence of the show, where Jeff shouts out how many days and how many players are in the game. And we'll find out about some alternates for heroes versus villains from this season. Basically, as long as it isn't part of the show that aired on TV, it's fair game to be considered a secret. And while most of the secrets here are focused on season 17 Gabon, some of them do apply to Survivor as a whole. With that, I want to thank you for watching what I make and ultimately supporting what I do here with liking, commenting, and sharing. For only a few bucks a month on Patreon, you can pick what videos I make, watch all of this channel's content early, chat with other fans of the show, and even get exclusive videos every month. Thank you for your support. Heads up, this list contains secrets that I personally found to be the most interesting. Not every single secret in existence about this season is in this video. So with that, let's count all 46 of them in absolutely no particular order. Number 1. Survivor Gabon is commonly seen as a hot mess of a season by most fans, so it only makes sense that some of the advertising by CBS follows suit by being incredibly bad. So please let me know if this next ad that they officially put out makes you want to watch Survivor.
That's crazy. Seeing that today really made me step out of the game for a second, and it just makes you appreciate life.
Number 2. You know the part of every single season of Survivor where Jeff stands in some cool location while shouting how many days and players there are in order to get you hyped up? Well, there's a lot more that goes into that 10-second spot than you might think, and here are all the fun details from season 17.
It only takes a few seconds of TV time, but it takes virtually a day, 24 hours, and an entire crew of people to set this up. 2 helicopters, refueling stations, we've got a jib, steady cam, we got a ton of instrumentation is brought into this to make this successful.
Well, it took us 5 hours to get here. Wow, that's a new development. We've just landed, just finished our scout. We're planning on shooting in about 12 hours, and a big storm is coming in. You cannot have helicopters in the air. Plus, I don't like getting wet. So we're gonna hope that the storm hits tonight and passes by in the morning. We're in West Africa. I'm on a mountain that is about 1,000 feet altitude, and there's nobody up here but me. Everybody else is left. We're waiting on the helicopter to get back up in the air, and we're gonna shoot. This is a great moment. 39 days, 18 people, 1 survivor. That's how you do it right there.
Number 3. The tribal council set for this season reminds me a bit of the one from season 3, which makes sense since both are taking place in Africa. What you may not be able to guess is how many obstacles production had to get through just to get the roofs of each of these huts to their location.
Getting this grass here would seem like we're in a huge field full of grass. You'd think this would be very easy, but the grass is actually not tall enough, and it was a long ordeal. There are pygmies. There's actually a village of pygmies that make these roofs, and getting these here was a big deal. They take all this and they wrap it up like it needs to be, and then they put it on a train. Well, one time the train, our grass got bumped on the train because there was a dead person who needed the car. We tried again. They bumped it for the president's food they had to bring to the president of Gabon. Then they went on strike, pygmies.
Number 4. If you have ever wanted to know what it would look like to walk out of tribal council in the very remote location Survivor shooting in for Gabon, well, now you can find out.
Keep on walking. Thanks for coming. It's all you. Have a good time. Gabon says, au revoir.
Number 5. Around this era of Survivor, Jeff would do many funny skits on TV, like on Mad TV, for example, which was a different channel's version of SNL. And around this time, Jeff played the part of a cashier who acts like he is not Jeff Probst and totally screws with people.
Aren't you in the wrong place?
What do you mean?
Aren't you at Survivor?
Oh, Survivor. Yep, I get that a lot.
You look just like that guy.
You know how many people come through here and say, aren't you that guy? And then I have to say,
You look just, and then you gotta change your name.
I gotta change my, it's the only thing going for me. I get dates off this. I do. People will come through here and I'll say, the tribe has spoken, or...
That's his most famous one.
Somebody gave me this the other day. Look what this woman gave me the other day. Yeah.
Look at that.
He's got...
That doesn't look like him.
Who's better looking?
You look exactly like him.
Number 6. On Talking with T-Bird, which is this amazing podcast series by Rob Has a Podcast, Randy was interviewed and he talks about how he completely regrets voting for Bob for 2 reasons. Here is the first one.
I've come out and said that I wished I'd voted for Sugar just to force a tie. Bob would have ended up beating Susie in a tiebreaker, but I wouldn't have given him the money, which would have been a bonus for me. Yeah, I often wonder if Probst would have read 6 of the 7 votes. I often wonder if I'd voted for Sugar, if they had made Sugar a jury member like they did in Dom and Wendell season and had Sugar vote, and Sugar would have voted for Bob 100%.
Number 7. So you may be asking, what is the second reason then? Well, it may have you looking at Bob a bit less favorably than you did before, if this is true, of course.
No, I rode Bob for years. He didn't thank me for breaking the tie and giving him $1 million. He never thanked me.
Yeah.
And when I chewed his ass out for not thanking me, he still wouldn't thank me. He would just like, I'm sorry, I overlooked it. And I'm just like, shut up. Tokenchine's finale, we all kind of had a reunion in New York. And
yeah,
a group of us took a cab somewhere to, I don't know, we went to lunch or something. And there was like 4 or 5 of us crammed into a cab. One of them was Bob, and the cheap mother, when it came time to pay the fare, he's looking for his wallet, and he's like, okay, that'll be $4.75 per person. And I'm just like, you old geezer, you're paying for it all.
Number 8, back to Jeff Probst being a cashier. This time he helps a guy steal some groceries. If this guy was fair play, he probably would have just laughed and taken the groceries without any questions.
What's your day today, sir? Only vegetable. What would make it better? Free groceries?
Why would you do that?
Well, because I don't like this job. Don't say anything. Seriously, don't say a word. Very good customer leaving the store. Right on, man. The tribe has spoken.
Number 9, Bob Crowley, the winner of this season, of course, applied for Gabon and was rejected on account of being too nice. But then later on they decided, why not? Let's give him a shot.
And I auditioned once last April, and actually I flunked out of the interview because the last question they asked me is, how are you at lying and being deceitful? And I said, I'm not good at that. I won't do it. You might as well end the interview right now. And they did. They sent me home, and then in May they called me back up and said apparently they were missing one old scrawny guy that they needed on the show.
Number 10. So get this, the loved ones visit we saw in Gabon was way more time consuming than you can likely imagine. I always thought maybe it took 3 days out of the week for the loved ones to fly out and whatnot, but apparently it was much more time consuming than that.
Peggy, my wife, came out to visit me in Africa for 4 hours. She flew all the way across there. She was there for a week, but only saw me for 4 hours.
Number 11. Heyo, we do this every season when it doesn't happen at the reunion, but if you don't know, back in the day, the winners would have to fly out to the morning show the day after that they won the game and receive their $1 million check in person on air. Sometimes you get the interviewer toying with them, like in season 12, but here Bob has a more normal experience, you might say.
Never in my life did I think I would ever hold a check for $1 million. Usually we see the big one that you can't cash. This is the real McCoy, my friend, and everybody in the studio has rubbed it for luck.
They won't fit in my wallet, they will.
No, but it'll fit in your bank account very nicely. What does that feel like? Look at it, can you believe it? Look at this.
Yeah, lots of zeros.
$1 million, your name. What a trip.
Number 12. You thought Jeff Probst as a cashier screwing with people was over? No way, I got more. This time there's an 18-year-old who has no idea who Jeff is, and this time Jeff steals his groceries.
Dan, you got a deep voice. How old are you, man?
18.
18. Yeah, I don't want you to use your credit card, man. How much is this? Like $2. Check this out.
Cash back too.
How much cash you need?
40.
Yeah.
Number 13. Did you know that Corinne Kaplan and Eliza Orlins competed on The Amazing Race 32? Them along with Rupert and Laura and Chris and Brett. It's a season where it's basically Survivor teams versus Big Brother teams versus returning Amazing Race teams. I highly recommend it. The season is incredible, and I will link you to my videos about it in the description below.
Rupert is really old. He's got like this big pot belly.
Did you shave your mayonnaise?
Like, he's not exactly Mr. Athletic.
Number 14. In the TV Guide preview for the season, we learned that Gabon was apparently an incredibly hard place to shoot in. And since the government there was actually beginning to care about tourism at the time, they stepped in to help Survivor's production team.
We've had shipping delays with our timber. We've had all sorts of things be delayed. It was one thing after another. If you get any kind of a delay, there's no catching up. Our show starts on the day it's supposed to start. We never push, ever.
The military of Gabon came to the aid of production.
There are some old roads that have been eroded over the years by the rainfall here. And so the military engineers were brought in here to restore some of those old roads, to replace some of the bridges.
Number 15. You may remember Kenny and how he said he is a professional gamer. Well, apparently that is still true to this day, and he's considered one of the best in the world at Super Smash Bros. Melee for the GameCube. But what you may not know is how Jeff didn't think casting him would be very smart.
Ken is a guy that when Lynn, our casting director, brought him into the casting room, I literally put my hand on her forehead and said, "Do you have a temperature?" And he grew on me and grew on me and grew on me to the point where he is one of my favorites. I love this kid.
Number 16. Here we go again. Jeff Probst's bad prediction of the season. This happens almost every single season, and this time he sets his sights on Sugar.
If she has somebody she can go to, I think she's a reliable vote, and she could go, you know, maybe to the jury. But she won't make it deep. She won't make it to the end.
Number 17. Have I ever mentioned to you that Jeff Probst once pretended to be a cashier? Sort of like a retro Impractical Jokers? Huh. Well, if this is the first time you're hearing about it, welcome. I'm joking, of course. In this scenario, he screws with a lady who is very particular about the price of her items.
You know how much these were?
They were $2 for $3.
$2 for $3. That's
$1.50.
$1.50.
Last time I checked.
Okay. What's wrong?
It's $82.
Not well so far.
I know.
$16.85.
Oh my God.
Paper good?
This is not 54. I didn't buy 3 boxes of donuts. So what are you gonna do? I don't want. Oh, this is not good.
Number 18. I opened this video with that terrible dinosaur ad that CBS themselves officially put out, and this is back when YouTube was kind of in its infancy around 2010, but I think there is a reason the CBS iLab YouTube channel is no longer an active account, because they also put out videos like this one.
Jeff Probst's critics say he is sided with the tribal council 100% of the time. What does Mr. Probst have to say? This man has ended the dreams of countless castaways. He's clearly a puppet of the tribal council.
Number 19. As we all know, Gabon was the first season filmed in glorious 720p, a big deal for network television at the time, and it feels like a weird time capsule to hear the show talk about this move to HD on the news and in the behind the scenes.
Now, much has been made about shooting this season in high definition. I'm wondering about your thoughts about high definition, whether it's going to breathe some new life into the show.
Yeah, it's pretty spectacular. You know, and I'm an HD fan. I've watched programs in HD, but when we were on location and on the second day watched some footage, I was blown away. It's a brand new show. If you're an HD fan, Survivor's worth checking out just for the HD, and if you're a Survivor fan, it's worth getting an HD set for the experience because you see so much more detail.
We actually had somebody here at the station that did buy an HD set just because Survivor's now in HD.
I love that.
Number 20. As of the time of me releasing this video, Survivor has been filming in the same exact location of Fiji for well over 10 seasons. It's madness. But even back in season 17, people wondered if Survivor would break the mold and shoot a season locally. And Jeff says, no way, the changing of locations is too important and we want to be in exotic locations. It's kind of ironic.
Hey, before I let you go, though, I want to ask you if there's ever been any discussion about shooting a season of Survivor in the U.S., maybe, you know, Survivor Great Smoky Mountains.
Not really, you know, because we feel that part of the show is the location and the exotic remote location that you might not have ever seen, and you might learn something from the culture.
And isn't it ironic? Don't you think?
Number 21. For some reason, I'm imagining the cost and time it takes is probably the biggest one, that no press comes to Gabon like we see them do in so many other seasons. So since Jeff is pretty much all by himself doing the Tribal Council tour, he votes off the cameraman.
That's it. You're done. Camera goes. Thank you. Follow the path. Pick it up, please. Little pace would help.
Number 22. How does one even lead into this next secret? Let's see. Marcus was voted as Georgia's hottest bachelor in 2006. Not much of a lead-in, but there you go.
28-year-old Marcus brings quite a bit of experience to the game. He's a former rower, a triathlete, and also a doctor. Marcus was voted Georgia's hottest bachelor by Cosmo magazine in 2006 and plans on using his flirtatious charms on his tribe mates.
Number 23. So after Marcus gets voted that prestigious award and of course is on the nationally televised show Survivor, surely he has found the love of his life by now. After all, it's been like what, 13, 14 years? No, he's still single because he is also a contestant on a dating show called Labor of Love, where he makes it to the next to last episode.
Hi. I don't know how to be more excited than right now.
Kittens are so cute.
I know.
I want them all.
Number 24. Episode 9 of this season where Randy gets voted off is simply iconic. Sugar, Randy, and most infamously Crystal have amazing voting confessionals where they are so salty. But one that they didn't show was Corinne's, who is working that voting booth so well.
I'm holding this up for a minute before I start, so it seems like I'm explaining why I'm voting Randy. I'm voting you, Susie, because Maybach's up.
Number 25. But hold on, despite thinking you have seen and heard the infamous Crystal vote for Randy unedited, you really haven't, as in the final product they cut away from her to show reactions, and that is for a good reason, because
you have made my life hell from day one. Forget you, go home, goodbye.
Number 26. You may have never asked, what would have Corinne done if she had won the $1 million? I know I've never thought about this once. Well, she has an answer to this, and I think I believe her when she says she will do it.
I plan on cashing it out into $1 bills and filling a massive tank and then just doing the backstroke.
Number 27. It isn't much, but for 2 minutes of the TV Guide preview, we get a glimpse of the behind-the-scenes info on Survivor's production team and what goes into crafting the narrative along with the editing process. Enjoy.
We shoot approximately 2,500 hours of footage, so every season we average about that.
Even before we're done shooting, we have editors back at home that the producers are communicating with and telling them, okay, here's what we can tell the audience that makes sense for why this person went away or why this happened.
When we go home at the end of the day, there's night segment producers that come out, so there's producers on the beach
24/7.
24 hours a day. Out here you're on the front lines, but most of the job is back in LA, putting everything together.
The stuff arrives back in Los Angeles. Then they do a fuller logging process, actually watching every single tape.
You gotta log hours and hours and hours of footage. Our shooting ratio is 300 to 1. For every minute you see, we've shot 300 minutes.
So it's about a 4-week process per show for them to go through all the footage and put it together into a final locked form.
Number 28. Sometimes the Survivor bios that the contestants write about themselves is done before the show ever airs, which sounds strange. You would assume they always do it before the show airs. Well, Randy reveals that for Gabon, it was the opposite, like so much else this season.
Because I think I read that you said early on somewhere that you were a purist and that you guaranteed that if you played the game and it's not poisoned with too many twists, you would win the game. So
yes, and that
I wasn't surprised.
That was in my CBS bio, which I wrote after the fact. So I knew that the game was poisoned with twists, and I knew that I did not win.
Yeah.
So both of those things came true.
Number 29. Would you want to see Randy play a third time if given the chance? Has he ever even been called to come back once more? Well, Randy has the answers.
Back when Lynn was still running the show, I got a couple emails from her, but it wasn't, they weren't interested in me playing again. They were just refreshing their database of old players just in case. I think every single Survivor got one, or at least the ones that they had information on. So no, I really have not been contacted.
Number 30. Heroes vs. Villains is such a fascinating season with so many people who came close to being on it, including Corinne, who was offered to be on the season and turned it down. I wonder who took her place. Danielle DiLorenzo, maybe?
Who turned down Heroes vs. Villains due to work obligations?
This is the easiest test. Corinne, of course. I mean, we talked every day during the entire casting.
Would your game have changed, by the way, if Corinne had been out there?
My game would not have changed, but I would have been amazed if I was voted out with her there.
Number 31. Most of us may remember the family visit in Gabon for Maddie popping the question to his girlfriend and the fact that they all got a visit. While I will address the popping the question to his girlfriend later on in this video, what we didn't see was Corinne trashing everyone behind their backs to her brother, who was even shocked that she made it this far in the game.
I have more hate than ever in me. As if I wasn't already an angry person. These people are such losers. And then, like, the little Asian kid, he's never had a girlfriend, he's never had a... Yes, he's 22 years old. You know, the one Sugar, she's the one I hate the most. You see what she looks like? She claims to be a pinup as well. A pinup.
For what?
I don't know. I liked it. Wouldn't you like to know?
I'm in shock that Corinne's this far into the game. She's not very outdoorsy. I don't know why you're here. You're still here. You bring nothing.
Nothing to the table. I couldn't even find tree milk.
You don't cook.
No, I do not. I do not fish.
What do you do? Like everyone gets up in the morning and everyone's like, oh, I'm gonna go start the fire. Or I'm gonna go catch a fish.
I did try tap dancing once or twice.
Oh, you're entertainment?
Yes.
They just didn't have a pole.
No.
That's the problem was.
Number 32. Corinne ripped Sugar a new one at the final tribal council for Gabon, which seemed quite harsh, and it was, but fitting when you see Sugar trashing Corinne while voting her out of the game.
You are a nasty, negative, alcoholic, silicone enhanced, home-wrecking gold digger. You should do really well in LA. Good game, but not good enough.
Number 33. Did Randy know the idol was fake when he played it? It seems like every time I hear someone talk about this, they have a different story about what they have heard Randy say. Well, here it is, straight from Randy's mouth after being voted out on television.
Before I played it, I looked down and I saw Sugar and Crystal. They were both hysterically laughing. So at that moment, I knew it was fake. And, I also knew that I was toast. So, I play the idol, I go home. If I don't play the idol, I go home. So.
Number 34. In a secret scene from episode 2, Coda finds an elephant skull, which is super cool, but apparently Paloma is scared of elephants, dead or alive. She came onto the wrong season of the show then.
When we saw the elephant skull, everybody was like, oh my gosh, there's an elephant skull. And then I was like, we're in Africa, like seeing the skull solidifies the fact that they're here. I mean, there's a dead one out in the savannah, like for sure you know it. You can hear them, especially at night. You can hear them a lot at night. I don't want anybody to think that I'm weak or whatnot. So like, even though I'm scared of elephants, I'm just sucking it up and being like, I'm strong, I'm happy.
Number 35. People this season are starving. What else is new? They have no food or water for days, and GC even says he is waking up feeling lightheaded, which sucks. However, he goes out hunting and...
Where are you, buddy? Show yourself. That's good. All right, put that one, put them on a stick. We got an appetizer today, man. Gonna have some smoked lizard. I don't know how much I like those. I caught a little lizard and I cooked them up, and it wasn't that great. I don't know if I'll be catching too many more lizards. I think I'll just let them do their thing.
Number 36. Sadly, Dan from this season passed away after Survivor Gabon aired, but let's remember him with a smile because in the secret scene from episode 6, he accidentally pepper sprays himself in the eyes.
So Dan had been cutting up the habanero pepper. Dan is very abrasive with the way he does things. He was like, I know how to cut these up, da, 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 da. So he grabbed them real quick and like went over to cut them up and was like taking the seeds out and doing all this stuff. And the whole time, Susie, who's Mexican, who probably grew those in her backyard, was like, they're very spicy, they're very hot, you shouldn't really handle them. So he cuts them up and he gets the oils all over his hands, and he goes to wipe his eye and it's like he's got pepper spray in his eye.
Oh man, that's painful.
Which all I could do not to laugh. What are we gonna do other than stare? He's just a mess, he's a hot mess.
You okay?
Number 37. Ponderosa this season is wild. The location for the first 3 jurors, that's right, just the first 3, requires a helicopter flight to and from the location, and apparently it's too dangerous to fly to at night.
Because the chopper can't fly at night and there are no roads to the Ponderosa, each new jury member has to spend the night at the crew base camp before being transported the next morning to the Ponderosa site.
Number 38. Charlie, Marcus, and Corinne become best friends on Ponderosa, so much so that we see Marcus making fun fun of Charlie in the background, and Charlie just straight up does not care. Number 39. So after Corinne gets voted off, Survivor must be flush with cash at this time because they then get a second Ponderosa location that can be accessed by road. Why not just have Ponderosa be here the whole time? I have no idea.
Today we are checking out of this location.
Bye-bye. Bye, merci.
We have to say goodbye. Another person is going to join the jury tonight, and we need a place that's got a little bit more room.
Another advantage to the new Ponderosa is that it's accessible by road.
I'm excited for the new adventures at the next Ponderosa.
Number 40. Most people love when they go to Ponderosa. All the food they want, a bed, a hot shower, and time to relax. Sure, they didn't win the game, but at least they get to enjoy this luxury. However, Corinne is the opposite. She hates this place, and it is finally her hairdryer only working in short spurts that sends her over the edge.
Really annoying. Like everything when I got off this damn show. Nothing works, the food sucks, it's not exactly luxury. And it's my first tribal, I wanna look good. Really, do yourself a favor, don't come to Africa. Nothing redeeming about Africa. Nothing. So annoying.
Number 41. Unfortunately, once Crystal, Kenny, and Maddie are all voted out, the Marcus, Corinne, and Charlie group become jerks to everyone. Randy's just his normal self, so he's not involved in this, but Marcus, Corinne, and Charlie think they are too good, they're too cool, too smart, too popular to be hanging out with the other people, and it becomes pretty toxic.
Marcus, Corinne, and Charlie, they really don't want to talk, so if they're gonna be sour grapes, then what can I do but, be myself and enjoy what I have out here.
My alliance of Corinne, Charlie, and Marcus are taking it a little bit too far.
There are a lot of things that didn't have to be said that were said during the game, and unfortunately some of the repercussions come out. And when people who said those things don't realize that they have an impact, or they want to pretend like they don't, then you kind of get in these sort of like awkward situations.
Corinne and Marcus have been really hurt by things that happened to them in the game, so they've sort of laid down these ground rules for me. And of course, if I had my way, I would just be like pleasant and hey, how are you? And maybe like exchange a few words with him. But I think it's been really important for Marcus that he sees the support of his friends in not talking to these people because they are the enemy. So, to support my friends, I have not been talking to either Crystal or Kenny, but if they say hello to me, how are you? I would be a fool not to respond with, fine, how are you?
For me, if they don't want to say anything to me, then it's their loss.
Like, I really hate Ponderosa. I hate this place.
Number 42. It continues as Kenny shows his bag that he stuffed all of his clothes into, and he's like, hey, pretty impressive, right? And Corinne can't help but pick on him for that too.
Kenny showed up with a suitcase appropriate for a 3-year-old whose mom wants to teach her how to bring a suitcase to the airport.
Number 43. As most of us know, Jessica Sugar Kiper is more than just a pinup model. She's also an actress, and you may have seen her in a show that you like. Heck, she even appeared in multiple episodes of Gilmore Girls. Number 44. Time for some rapid fire facts. Crystal Cox won a gold medal at the 2004 Olympics, as we learned on the show, but as it turns out, she was using illegal substances at the time when she won it and was later stripped of her gold medal, and now it makes sense why she sucked so bad in those challenges. Number 45. Did Maddie get married to his girlfriend that he proposed to in Gabon? Yes. Yes, he did, about 1 year after they filmed the season. Number 46. Remember how I said Heroes vs. Villains has a lot of interesting casting decisions? Well, as it turns out, Ace Gordon revealed to Survivor Oz that he was an alternate for that season and was cut only a few days before filming. So which secret blew your mind the most? Comment below and let me know. Thanks for watching, and doubly thanks for liking and subscribing. See you all next time.